All right, we're back and we're in VR. We're going to be recording um, uh, a new player experience in the VR. I suggest you go here after the tutorial, just learn some basics, some gear, and see what kind of stuff that you like. Different people have different play styles, depending on your play style, it's going to impact what kind of which of the classes you want to play. Like as I was saying earlier, the Infiltrator is the one that uses a sniper rifle. That's dependent on the kind of suit you're wearing. You have the nanite cloaking, which is this is a cloaking device, passively grants 100 shield health to the infantry while cloaked is active, while also reducing small arms damage. That's good if you're running around the battlefield fighting. That's not primarily what this class does. Hunter cloaking is the one that allows you to use sniper, which bends light around the infiltrator, perfect visibility. While it's motionless, cloak asks for 12 seconds and regulates to full in 7 seconds. So this cloak allows you to have the sniper rifle. Stalker cloaking does not drain while stationary, but it prevents the use of primary weapons while equipped. While moving, cloaking lasts up to 16 seconds. When drained, recharges to 10 and full in 10 seconds, whether cloaked and stationary or uncloaked. So we're just going to go ahead and do this real quick. We're going to go into each of the classes pretty fast. I'm just going to go through the basics of them as quickly as I can. All right, so we're going to equip out. We're going to equip with the stalker cloaking. Give us a rifle. When I turn my cloaking on, it's going to make me invisible. You can kind of see where my rifle is there. It's showing a shield. Other people, that's the way it's going to look too. I am not going to be entirely invisible. If I'm moving, it's going to make that blur a little bit more visible, and people will be able to see it. All right, so I'm going to use my zoom in on the target area. I'll find an enemy. Make sure it's an enemy, and shoot it. So that's that. If we're going to switch over, I was going to switch over to the stalker cloaking, show you how that works. Okay, now I have where my primary weapon would be. I don't have anything. It's not going to allow me to switch to that, and that sort of is a little bit of a problem with the way I have my gear set up, because I have because I play with a Logitech controller, usually in one hand and the mouse in the other. So my Logitech controller gives me the ability to flip my gear, and I'm using it right now. And it'll go through the different gear slots that I have open, but I have it set up so it'll go to my primary weapon by pushing one of the buttons instead of scrolling through them, because sometimes you just need to get to your primary weapon fast, but when you're got this cloaking on, you can't use it. So I'm going to activate the cloak. In this mode, you can see I'm moving over this way so you can see how the gun barrel has that kind of shimmering thing going on it. And while you're cloaked, I'm gonna get out here so you can kind of see it, because it's dark now, so you can kind of see the target easier. So there's a target out there, and while I'm cloaked, I can't fire. But when I uncloak, I can fire. And I think I have this set so that I automatically uncloak when I fire. So that's in the settings. Let me see where is that? Decloak on fire. So you can set this. Usually that's set to not being on when you first start playing. So if you want, so you'd have to decloak yourself manually before you could start firing. I guess that's to stop you from accidentally firing and decloaking. Oh, let me go ahead and talk about this too, and I hope I remember to talk about this later on too. There's a setting down here at the bottom. It's auto join squads when you log in. Since this is a multiplayer game, it's extremely important to play with other people and to try to work with them in order to achieve goals. So this function here, auto join squads, will automatically put you in a squad when you log in. Once you start playing and you're in an outfit, you want to go ahead and just turn that off, and then go look for your outfit squads. If you were in an outfit, what you do is you'd go in here sorry, you go in here to the squad screen, and you could look for your outfit name over here. It'll be in these brackets. This is VCO. This is DMON. If you hit outfit, it'll show you a list of all the screens that all the squads that your outfit is active in. All right, we're going to run back over here. Okay, we're going to use the respawn thing because we are now able to use that live video, turn it off. If you hit U, it's going to put you into the redeploy, which will send you back to the map screen to find a base to deploy to. If you hit U again, it'll turn it off. All right, I'm just going to run up in here. And I'm going to change classes again. We're going to go into light assault. Now the light assault, I really prefer to use the drifter jets. The drifter jets are mostly forward thrust, but it does have vertical thrust. You can go up with it, but if you're trying to move quickly on the battlefield across an area, or if you're jumping out of aircraft like a Galaxy deployment ship, you'll see those later. This allows you to stay in the air the longest of any of the jets. And so I strongly suggest using the drifter jets. The ambusher jets are ones that allow you to, it just basically does short jumps. You can use that to like jump over an area into a base. It doesn't thrust you up that high, but it does thrust you forward a decent distance. The Icarus jets are supposed to make you move up quickly, but really to me they really don't move you up that much faster than anything else. And then the skirmisher jets are the base level jets, and they're just generic. They can go up and down, but trying to go up and over a wall in a base, really, either you're going to be able to get up over there without somebody seeing you and sniping at you, or you're not. So really it doesn't make any difference which of these two. This one's better for moving around as far as I'm concerned, the drifter. So I'm going to play the drifter. I'm going to pull a light assault. So basically you can see the bar over there on my left hand of the reticle, which is showing my jump jet fuel, and you can see that I'm using a decent amount of it moving around here, but not like running out of it too awful quickly. So generally what light assaults do is they sort out the C4. In the VR, everything's free, so you can play with it. But once you get into the live game, you have to pay cert points. The cert points are gained through doing things in the game. They're basically your XP is converted. Every 100 XP converts to 1 cert. And that looks like a daunting amount, but really you can get it fairly quickly. So I'm going to resupply and get that. And when I come back out, if I go back into the screen again, oops, it didn't take. I don't know why it didn't take. All right, there it is. So there it is. So now I have it. And you can switch your different kind of grenades, for flag grenade to a flash grenade or a smoke grenade. I'm going to take smoke grenades this time. You always have a rocket rifle, which is your secondary, which is it's my tertiary weapon. This is can be a very strong weapon for fighting vehicles if you switch over and use these Typhoon rockets. These do more damage to vehicles and aircraft. The locklets are lock-on small name gear. For the way that the light assault works, the lock-ons really I don't suggest those. You can switch over to other kind of weapons here. Here's an NC weapon I purchased, so it's available to all my characters, and so I'm gonna go ahead and insert that. This is a crossbow, and it has the potential to do damage to armor if I use the explosive bolt. It also has a detect bolt, which is actually a spying weapon, which I should have gone over with the infiltrator, but I apologize, but they have a sniping device also. I guess I'll do individual classes later, so I'm going to try to go over this quickly. And again, have a smoke bolt, which shoots smoke rockets, so I'm going to resupply this. And so one of the things that light assaults do is they sneak up on enemy vehicles and destroy them. So we're going to do that real quick, and then I'm going to go to the next class. I kind of know what's going on out here in the battlefield, so I know where all these vehicles already are. So here's like a TR Magrider, and there's a Prowler. It's nighttime, so I apologize. So I'm going to toggle over to the C4. I'm going to put that on the vehicle, and then I'm going to use my fire button. It's going to detonate it, and it does damage to it. Also do damage with a rocket rifle. If you fire, you can fire 1 burst, or if you hold down the aim button on this weapon, it fires a full salvo. Camera. I think did I just put smoke on this? This has so this crossbow bolts. They're explosive too. Since I'm firing at the back of the vehicle, I'm doing additional damage, more damage than I normally would. And I'll go ahead and finish that off. So I'm going to go back over here. So it's not that far. And this will give you an idea about the speed you do for going up. So I'm just going to go up. It's going up kind of slow for a hover, but it's still going up. And you see, I still got a lot of hover area. Whoops, got a shielding up there. So let me go back out here. Okay, it's fully recharged now. And so if I want to, you can see how high this thing will go. It's not going up that fast. So if that guy could snipe me now. Whoops. I'm trying to get outside the shield here. Now, when you fall, you are going to take fall damage depending on how far you fall. So what I want to do is mitigate how I'm falling. So I want to keep the drifter going while I'm landing. All right, I'm going to switch to another class. It's a combat medic. This one allows you to heal people when you have your heal tool out. So if you go up to a friendly player and you push your fire button, you'll heal. If they were down on the ground, you push your aim button, you'd be able to res them. Medic's got a couple different tools they can use. This one is it's your nano regen device that just allows you to do a heal field around you, and it's got that little bar on the left like the jump dead did, showing how long it'll be active, that heals you and other people directly in your area. By leveling this up, you'll be able to do a greater distance away from you and regenerate at a faster rate. You can also do the shield recharge, which is you got two different kind of things you take when you take damage. You have your shield first, and when your shield goes down, then you start taking hit point damage. So if you have using this ability, you can deploy this device, and basically what that'll do is recharge the your and the other players in the area shields, so it can be very useful to stop people from taking hit point damage. Usually I make one use the different when you're in live, you'll have different loadouts that you can use, and usually you make at least one with a nanite regen device and one with the regen capacitor. There's some useful grenades in the healing class. You always start with the frag grenade, but there are healing grenades and revive grenades. Revive grenades revive everybody that's down within their fields. Usually as a medic I carry those versus the healing grenades because I already have the heal capacity with my gear that I have on me. All right, we're going to go ahead and switch over to the engineer. Engineer is a vehicle repairing class. They can carry different kinds of weapons, anti-vehicle mines and anti-personnel mines. Now, in most games that you guys are used to, having the mines on the ground is extremely useful, but in planet side, people can buy up extra, buy implants. And some of the most important implants I would suggest trying to unlock early on and level up are the sweeper HUD. The sweeper HUD allows you to see explosives. People have this, and almost everybody's going to have this when they get up to be between level early on. I mean, by the time they get to level 30, I'm sure at least people have Minesweeper level 1. They know how useful it is when they start buying it up. If you're a vehicle driver, it is extremely important to have this. You want to level it up to as high as you can, as quickly as you can. It gives you more time when you're driving fast. You want that extra distance to be able to detect mines on the ground. The mines will destroy you really rapidly if you do not have it. Another one, just for go into it for almost all classes, is the let's see here, the ammo printer. Because the ammo printer allows you to recharge your magazines. Now this will, if you're a driver of a vehicle, this will recharge, resupply your ammo for your vehicle weapons as well. It'll give you a magazine's worth. and that can really help you out on the battlefield. All right, we're going to go out here to where some friendly vehicles are. I'm going to do some friendly vehicle damage in order to be able to use the repair tool. All right, so what you do is you go to your mines, you get your mines, you can throw your mines, deployment area, and I'm going to get back a little bit because these things are going to explode, of course. Okay, so that did damage to the Sunderer. You can see that little bar over the top of it's its health bar showing the damage it's taken. I'm going to switch over to my repair tool, and I can repair it. Down the bottom you'll be able to see that bar I was talking about in the last video about how it'll overheat. Once it gets up to the red, it's going to overheat. I can stop it and stop it from overheating and recharge it, but if I go all the way up to the top of that overheat, it's going to force it to go through a cooldown cycle. So right now it's in the cooldown cycle and it won't allow me to use it until it goes all the way down again. Once it is cooled down, I can use it again. And once it's all the way up, it's already repaired. And when you're an engineer, when you look at the map, there's going to be a wrench over things that need to be fixed. So you'll know it needs to be fixed. And for a medic, they'll have the little medic icon on it, a little health square, or you know, the cross to indicate that there's somebody there that needs to get healed. So you could use the anti-personnel mines in doorways and whatnot, or around the corners of doorways, so people that aren't paying attention, or if they don't have the HUD sweeper, you know, they walk in, they'll set them off, they'll take damage. The other thing that the engineers have access to is, and you change your, we'll go over this the default gear, or just as we get on classes. So they have these turrets you can deploy. Now, Spitfire is an auto fire turret, and as you're able to, you can see it's really pricey. It's 1,000 certs, but once you get up into the mid-range, I would highly suggest getting this, because you can set these up and it'll help you. It'll be like having another unit next to you firing. They'll auto fire on whatever enemy is the closest to it. You can have, this is an anti-personnel machine gun, basically fixed machine gun, and this one's an anti-vehicle turret. So we're going to pull out the one for the anti-infantry. I'm going to get up an area where there's infantry. And I apologize for those of you who are waiting for you to play the heavy and the max, because they're at the end of the list. Alright, so I'll set up the machine gun. Oops. It's going to take a second to spawn. Then you can man it. And this is going to have the same kind of thing going on. It's going to have that bar down the bottom of it. And this is a max unit out here. So they got a lot of armor on them. They're not going to stand there and let you just shoot at them either. Now this does have a little bit of shielding on it, and you can see it up there on the sides. These panels up here are shields, but you know, you're vulnerable completely for a headshot. If there's a whole bunch of guys running across the field, this is good for use. If you can get in a position where you know, the enemy forces are all moving up, you see them moving across the field over here. They're not moving, but they're, you know, let's say they are. So these guys are moving up on the field, and you can get up and place your machine gun on the side of all the advancing troops. They're going to know you're here pretty quick, but before they get you, you can just start mowing them down. And you know, it's a flanking maneuver. They're not going to be sitting there waiting for it to they're not going to think that they're going to be flanked. So tactics on the battlefield are extremely important on how you place your gear. I'm going to switch classes. All right, so your heavy assault, you're basically your heavy weapons guy. He's going to have the rocket launcher like we saw in the training sequence. And as you can see, it's not going to let me reload while I'm aiming. If I sit here and aim, I'm not going to reload. But it knows I'm out of, if you look at the bottom, you see that blinking 0, it means I don't have any ammunition in my magazine. I have to go out of aiming mode for it to be able to reload. And it'll reload automatically. Not going to miss there. And I got the problem. And if I was hip firing, it would just automatically reload. The primary weapon for all of the different factions is some kind of heavy weapon. You know, you see, I'm gonna start from the legs and fire up because it's going to track up pretty fast. It's not going to be like control where you get single fire. I tend to use a lot of just single fire. If I'm in a room and there's a whole bunch of dudes, then I'm gonna do the rapid fire. If I can beat a distance, I'm gonna do a single shot. I'm just doing that by clicking and releasing the mouse real quick. You can toggle through the different weapon settings, but on some of the weapons, but generally trigger control is really important. So if I wanted to change, say, a scope on something, I'm going to go ahead and do this while I'm on the heavy. This one comes with a fixed attachment forward. You can change the different kind of forward attachments. The dark light allows you to see infiltrators. The laser makes you a little bit more accurate. You can pick compensators and suppressors, and the ammo, different kinds of ammo. Depending on the weapon, there'll be different kinds of ammo selections. So I want to get a sight so I can use this a little bit better. Some people suggest you go with the 2. This shows you what kind of what it's going to look like in the game. So this is got to like have a yellow circle when I do see, it's like the yellow one. If for whatever reason you like a different kind of scope, what it looks like. Let's see if this one's blue. So you can see it's blue on there. Here's this is the percentage of this, of how much it's zoom in. Here's a 4x zoom. So you see with the magazine size of 100, if you use single shots, you can with these heavy weapons you can do a lot of damage. And so okay, so we switch over to a Max. Max is the this is like a mobile robot, and it's got different kind of gear. The specialty on the NC is this a Geoshield, so I'm going to slot that out. When you get in the game, you'll have different loadouts. Usually I build one to be anti-infantry, one to be anti-air, one to be anti-armor, and one to be just a repair unit. Because if you go over the terminals, then you get this emergency repair. You can self-repair yourself if engineers aren't going to be around to repair you. So I've loaded up the Geoshield for now. These are the different kinds of armor. Ordnance armor is for anti-explosive vehicles. Hopefully you're not going to be running around with explosives too much because they're going to destroy you anyway. The main threat is infantry usually, because you're going to be indoors with a Max most of the time. If you're out in the field fighting against tanks, then the ordnance armor is the one to use, of course. And of course here's another repair system for if you're going to be, if you make a repair one, you want to use this nanite auto repair and use the emergency repair. That way you can go to a terminal, it'll auto repair you a certain amount, but the emergency repair will repair you pretty quickly. So I switched over to the anti-infantry one just for the sake of it. You can switch out the sorry, went out here. So you can switch out the kind of weapons that you have. You start out with a scattered cannon, and I think when you're in game, I don't think you start out with the Falcon. I think you start off with the Buster, because the Buster is the anti-air one, but we'll have to go into the game and make sure, because I think that's the way it used to be anyway. So so I have these 2 different weapons set up here now. The one on my, you use these for firing, your fire button for your left and your aim button for your right. So the aim button is firing my right and target the left. And basically it's a shotgun on that side. So here's an anti-air, here's an air vehicle. I'm gonna shoot on that with my burster. The burster is the anti-air weapon. If you're firing, if you're in a base and you're trying to defend it from air sweeping over, this is definitely the weapon to be using. And you can see the counters at the bottom of the screen going down for the magazine size on both of these. It automatically reloads when it empties, or you can hit your reload button and it'll automatically reload. So if I fire both of these and I reload, they'll reload both. And then if I use my utility, it'll pull up my shield. The shield, it'll give you a good amount of protection from enemy fire coming in, but it's not impervious. If you get somebody behind you, an NG repairing you while you got your shield up, you know, infantry around you can shoot over the shields, and it makes a good barrier. All right, so those are the basic classes. I'm going to go ahead and redeploy. It's going to put me back up into the base. You can still continue moving, which I suggest you do while you're deploying, because people are going to be shooting at you. You don't want to stop unless you know if you're really in a secure place. From this screen, the main map screen, I can go back to VR. Also, you have the options of going to the continents directly from this screen, and it'll let you do that. But for sake of still being in training, we're going to go back out here. So it didn't redeploy me as a max just because we're in the training. It never was going to automatically redeploy to max unless you pick it. Excuse me, since it costs nanites. So here we got classes again: Infiltrator, Light Assault, Combat Medic, Engineer, Heavy, and Max. They're always available to you. The only one that costs any use is the Max, and that'll eat up your nanites to be able to pull that. Of course, if you, like I said in the previous video, if you do have grenades equipped, it's going to automatically resupply. If you for some reason you want to turn off your automatic resupply, you can just click that and it'll stop it. If you're not a member, you may or may not want to turn that off, because you might be trying to save up to get pull a vehicle, and you might not want to buy grenades for your infantry. I don't want to go back over here. So I just came out of these spawn tubes over here, put me in front of here. So if I want to go into live, then I just pick my zone. We're going to go back to Indar. Yeah, we're going to go back to VR real quick. So like you've seen me doing with it when we're doing the classes, so mainly the NC forces are always on this side of VR. The TR and Vanu are always over on this end. The Vanu are kind of out here. Let me get something with a zoom, because it's still darkness out there. Okay, I still got that on there. Okay, so there are it's dark, it's hard to see. There are forces out here. Sometimes you have to hit them sometimes before they'll queue for whatever reason. I think one of the implants allows that to happen a little bit faster, but usually it's distance-wise, it's not that much. So so you can see these forces are out here on the field. This is one way to practice firing against these guys, and the vehicles out here on the field. The other way is to use these target dummies over here. Now the target dummies over here are going to vanish and reappear randomly. The ones that have the Dorito over their head, the little triangle thing, the ones that are always lit up are the blue ones for me, because I'm running NC. I have to queue the TR to get them to show up. You can practice firing over here. You don't have to queue them before you see them, but it lets your teammates know them. And when you queue them, when you queue them, it makes them show up on the mini map too. See, he's over here. so that your friendly forces will be able to see them on their mini map as well. Down there on the left hand side of the screen, you can see it. There's nothing queued. Now if I queue up these guys, now you can see them down there on the map, so that helps detect them. If you're practicing in here, I really suggest you go way back here and then look down here, see your targets, and practicing firing from this distance. Get your trigger control, firing up the body. Get your individual targeting for shooting at the head, and just practice doing that. The different kind of weapons, they recoils all different directions, so you have to know what how your individual weapon recoils. All right, so we're gonna go back over here, go back out to Indar again. This will put us into the area where there's live combat, and you'll actually get XP. The entire time I have been running in VR and in the training. So if I go into my character, you can see I have no experience at this point. So this is just to let you know what it's like to work with a new character. So I'm going to go into the use of directives for your basic training, and in the next video.